The State Department of Transportation is facing criticism over a plan to repair 5 bridges across the Cross Bronx Expressway. Community advocates say that the bridge repairs are being used to expand the highway that has historically been linked to increased respiratory illness in the Bronx due to high traffic volume. The DOT has backed away from some of its expansion plans after local outcry, but community and environmental organizations say the state is not doing enough to address their concerns. My next guest is Siddhartha Sánchez. He's the executive director of the Bronx River Alliance, an environmental protection organization. Welcome to the program. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
I looked at the plans that the DOT says, and there's a line early on. It says the project is not an expansion of the highway. Is that not true? Is that not accurate?
Well, the truth is that when you look at the actual footprint of the highway, all of the proposals that the state has put out expand the footprint. And we're very intimately connected to that footprint because the highway goes over the park that we're headquartered in and over the river that we care for.
Do we all agree that the bridges that were built between 1947 and 1958 are probably in need of repair or replacement?
100%. That's the thing I would say most of all. We are not against rebuilding the Cross Bronx. We see its condition, we understand it's crumbling, and we understand that it's a critical piece of infrastructure.
What is the role of the Bronx River Alliance in this kind of a conversation? So 150,000 cars or vehicles that are moving through there every day, still an environmental hazard. It's a past tragedy. I don't know the extent to which you're trying to sort of correct that after the fact, but what is your role in this conversation?
Yeah, I would say our role is really to represent the watershed communities that are alongside the river. We work to care for the river and the green spaces along the river, and that involves really the watershed communities that have been a part of reclaiming this natural resource. And the Cross Bronx has a huge impact on the community nearby. Over 62,000 people live right next to the corridor.
The Bronx River itself, by the way, I mean, just salute to you and all of your predecessors and everybody in that community that has brought this back. Those of us who remember when there were just nothing but submerged cars and it was a dangerous place, you restored access to the waterfront, got substantial cleanup going. Almost all of it was community-led, at least initially. And now, people are kayaking out there, which I never thought I would see. How does the DOT's plans support or perhaps endanger the work that you all have done over the years?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and thank you for giving us a space to talk about it. I think the reality of it is that the expansion of the Cross Bronx increases stormwater in the river at a real basic level. So water quality is affected, the programs that we run in and around the river are affected, and the air quality, of course. Any type of capacity increase or, the highway has a huge impact on air quality. As you mentioned, respiratory rates and asthma rates are some of the worst in the state.
Right. There was some concern that the volume would actually get higher as a result of congestion pricing, which was intended to sort of stop a certain amount of traffic from cutting through the middle of Midtown or lower Manhattan. Has that happened? Have you seen any numbers so far? We've had congestion pricing for about a year so far.
I haven't seen the numbers. I've seen the day-to-day parking lot that is the Cross Bronx, yes, and that most folks identify as the Cross Bronx. And I think, part of what we've been really pushing and advocating for is how do we reduce that traffic for the community's sake, for the business community's sake, and really for the folks that are using that expressway so that it actually functions.
What's the answer to that?
I think we're open to many ideas. At a real basic level, I think we need time to study the plans that the state has put forth. The state removed some of the most controversial and noxious proposals that they had laid out. A second parallel highway to the Cross Bronx was taken off of the table back in October, but they're still looking to expand the highway, and they haven't really talked about reducing traffic. So we have different ideas that we've been exploring, but we're really looking for time to consider other options.
Has Governor Kathy Hochul been an ally in this fight?
Well, what I would say is that the state has really come to the table as a partner, particularly, post-October. They've expressed, genuine desire to work with community to see alternatives and to see what the community wants to see. The challenge is that the comment period for the process that they're going through right now, the comment period for the environmental assessment is very short, and it's through the holidays. So we're really just asking for a few more weeks to involve as many stakeholders as possible engineers, the folks that know about highway design and can come up with the best possible solution for future generations.
And the environmental assessment, does it include things like the asthma rate in the immediate vicinity, the particulate pollution, and how it's affecting young people in particular, all of that?
I truly hope it does. We've only had a couple weeks to look at it. It's over 5,000 pages. It's one of those things that we understand is embedded in there, but we don't know how they're tracking and measuring the impact. I know that they're looking at receptors, not necessarily quantitative data. And so, I think those are projections really based on modeling.
I saw some proposals or some suggestions that perhaps turning it into a covered roadway, in effect a tunnel, that could capture a lot of the pollution and just kind of take it off the table. Sounded kind of expensive, but is that a real possibility?
Yeah, I think, for several years now, community along the Cross Bronx has been, gathering together to talk about how do we cap the Cross Bronx? How do we filter the air coming off the Cross Bronx? How do we put parks on top of the Cross Bronx? And I think, those are some of the ideas that you're referencing. I think the reality is that that is the future, I think, of this type of infrastructure in communities that have bared the impact of that infrastructure for decades.
Did you hear anything from the mayor-elect about what the next administration might do as far as their part of this conversation?
Well, what I understand is that the mayor-elect has really prioritized affordability and livability of New York City for the communities like ours, like communities that are alongside the Cross Bronx. We're working closely with the administration to make sure that the community's concerns around this project are raised and clear, and hopefully partnering with the administration on solutions.
Is there a mass transit solution that would substantially reduce some of the traffic on the Cross Bronx?
That has been something that has come up, not just looking at avenues like East Tremont Avenue and how do you create rapid bus transit along East Tremont, but also how do you put buses on the Cross Bronx? How do we look at other models across the world where that's more normal?
Yeah, dedicated bus lane. They do it on the Gowanus and some of the other similar highways. Okay, well, we're going to continue to watch this, and we'll wish you the best of luck. Thanks so much for coming by, and happy holidays to you.